Week 3 of the NFL season is underway. It's been a challenge for NFL teams to get ready for the regular season, an abbreviated training camp, no preseason. And think about the refs, too. They're coming into the season cold as well. And we're joined by former referee, Fox rules analyst Mike Pereira. A pleasure to have you with us, sir. And I'm sure it is. I hadn't really thought about it, but I'm sure it is tough for refs, doing their job in the midst of a pandemic along with everything else.
Well, I think the hardest part is that they didn't get any actual on-field preparation before the season started. As an official, you're used to going to the training camps and spending 4 days there, and then you have 4 preseason games. And officiating isn't a physical exercise; it's a mental exercise. And so to go into week 1 with really out any reps is really difficult. And I think the league did the right thing because they basically instructed their officials to say to them, look, if you're going to call fouls, make them clear and obvious. That's the terms they used, make them clear and obvious. And what did that happen? What effect did that have on officials? Well, I think it's pretty dramatic because if you look at the first 2 weeks of the season and compare them to the first 2 weeks of last season, the number of penalties per game are down from 19 to 13. And the number of holding penalties have dropped 65%. So you're seeing a lot less fouls called, especially holding calls. But I must tell Pete Carroll, he's got Carl Cheffers in his group on Sunday against the Cowboys. They called 7 last week. So Pete's going to probably go to their offensive linemen because they scout the officials and say, okay, keep those hands in. This group called a whole bunch last week, but it's been a challenge.
That's good inside knowledge, right? They'll be sure to pass that along to Pete. Okay, so you are the rules analyst. We didn't have a rules analyst in the booth, up till a few years ago, and that tells you how tough the rules can be to follow sometimes. Like as a fan, I know what a catch looks like. You know what a catch looks like. I mean, it was always possession, 2 feet down, and then we got into replay, and the technology in some ways seemed to sort of dictate the rules. Like you're taking something that happens in a flash, and then you're parsing it into fractions of frames. Do you think the NFL is getting it right in terms of replay? It seems like the game flow is getting better.
Well, do I think they're getting it right? I might say maybe, because I've kind of gotten beyond replay, and I think it's gone too far, especially in the catch. Like you say, you know what it looks like. I know what it looks like, but then the rule maybe isn't make it like the same, so it's been really difficult. And I think the danger with replay is, when we brought it in 1999, I was in the league office. It was all based on facts, grounds, lines, planes. There was really no judgment at all, especially when it came to something about the pass, completing the pass. You got 2 feet, facts. Okay, you got control, facts. But then this whole notion of having the ball long enough to perform an act common to the game, put it into the area of judgment. And the eyes of the officials see one thing, and then the replay in slow motion, those eyes see it in a completely different view. You can make anything look like a catch. And to me, the one mistake that replay has made is that they've just got too much into the area of judgment. And so therefore there are too many stops that does affect the flow of the game. And at least the league came to their senses and got rid of pass interference being reviewed like it was last year. So it's still a lot to me, but at least it's better than last year.
Now, some of the rules obviously are there to protect the players, helmet-to-helmet hits, for example. We saw Quandre Diggs get kicked out of the game last Sunday for a hit like that. Some are pretty obvious, some incidental, some get called, some don't. And that can be really tough for a ref to make a call like that on the field in the moment. Like last night, Ryan Fitzpatrick took a hit to the head. There was no call.
Yeah. The thing is, guys that are officiating in the NFL have been officiating for 30 years. And it's an area of the game which they're not used to officiating, looking to see whether a defensive player gets linear and leads with the helmet and attacks. Those types of things when it comes to hits on quarterbacks or especially hits on defensive receivers are hard because you're having to make the judgment on, is it a catch or is it not a catch? And is it interference? Is it not interference? Then all of a sudden you got to look, oh, wait a minute. Is it a helmet shot? Does he lower the crown of the helmet? There's just so much to it. And, people have said, should you get replay a part of that so you can be a little bit more accurate in that? And I say, no, please, no more replay. I'm done. Even like last night, Cam, Cam Robinson got ejected from the Jaguars for touching an official, which I don't think he should have been ejected for. People say, let replay get involved. No, please. I don't want to hear those words, but it's definitely, and I think we're all of us, you, me, every Hawks fan, we're all great slow motion officials. The problem is those poor guys on the field that do a remarkable job and are right 97% of the time in the decisions that they have to make in real time. You know, those are the ones that get the abuse because it becomes so easy when you get to look at it in slow, and even slower motion.
Well, you know what? If we're going to have a rules analyst, I'm glad you are our guy. Mike Pereira, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. You have an email, by the way. You might want to check that. Appreciate your time.
I will check that out.
All right. Have a good one.